Dear chosen ones, let's pause for a moment and reflect on the roots of your journey. Even before you were fully aware of your purpose, there were signs, subtle, powerful indicators woven into your childhood that revealed the greatness that was destined for you. What I'm about to share is not for everyone, but for those who have always felt a deeper calling, even in the earliest stages of life. If this resonates with you, know that it's because you've been walking this sacred path long before you even knew it. From a young age, there were traits, behaviors, and feelings within you that set you apart. Maybe you felt misunderstood or different from those around you, and you couldn't quite explain why. These traits weren't coincidences. They were the early manifestations of the greatness you're now stepping into. In this message, we will explore these signs, the ones that reveal your divine destiny. By the end, you'll see how even as a child, God was already planting the seeds for your extraordinary journey. Chosen one, if you've been guided here today, it's not by chance. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to join the Kingdom Calls family and never miss the divine wisdom that is here to support your sacred path. As you reflect on the early years of your life, it becomes clear that there were subtle signs pointing toward the greatness you were destined for. These signs were not random but intentional, planted by God to prepare you for the path you are walking now. Childhood is a time when we are closest to our purest, most authentic selves, and it's often in those early years that the traits that set chosen ones apart begin to emerge. One of the most profound experiences many chosen ones share from childhood is the feeling of being different. This wasn't just about being unique in your interests or hobbies. It was deeper than that. You may have found yourself questioning the world around you in ways that others didn't, sensing things on a spiritual or emotional level that your peers seemed unaware of. Maybe you felt out of place, as if you were on the outskirts of the typical childhood experiences, watching from a distance, but never fully fitting in. This sense of not belonging wasn't a mistake. It was a signal from the divine, reminding you that your journey would not be like anyone else's. Another common trait that often emerges in childhood is an unusually deep sensitivity. As a child, you may have been highly attuned to the emotions of others, feeling their pain, joy, and struggles as if they were your own. While this sensitivity may have sometimes felt overwhelming, it was also a gift. God gave you this heightened emotional awareness as part of your destiny, preparing you to become someone who could truly understand and uplift those around you. While others might have brushed aside the feelings of those they encountered, you couldn't help but feel the weight of the world. This trait is not a burden, it's a blessing, one that has helped you become the empathetic, compassionate soul that you are today. In those early years, another trait you might have noticed was an unusual level of wisdom or insight for your age. Perhaps you found yourself giving advice or offering comfort to adults, surprising them with how much you seemed to understand. Or maybe you were the friend that others turned to when they needed guidance, even though you were just a child. This wisdom was not learned through experience. It was divinely placed within you. It was a sign that God had set you apart, giving you the insight you would need to navigate the challenges of life and help others do the same. But with this wisdom often came solitude. Many chosen ones experience a deep sense of loneliness in childhood, not because they were rejected by others, but because they felt an inner calling that set them apart. This solitude was not punishment, it was preparation. God was giving you the space to grow into the person you needed to become, without the distractions or influences that might have led you away from your path. While it may have felt isolating at times, this solitude was actually a sacred period where your soul was being nurtured and strengthened for the journey ahead. As you look back on your childhood, you may also remember moments of inexplicable courage or resilience, whether it was standing up for what was right, even when no one else would, or persevering through difficult circumstances. These moments were further proof that you were destined for greatness. God doesn't place obstacles in the path of the chosen ones without purpose. Each challenge you faced, even as a child, was meant to build the strength and character you would need to fulfill your divine purpose. These traits, sensitivity, wisdom, a sense of being different, and even solitude, were not just random quirks of your personality. They were signs placed within you by God that have guided you to where you are today. They were early indicators of the greatness you were destined for, markers of the divine path you were meant to walk. At the time, you may not have understood why you felt the way you did, why you experienced the world differently than others, but now it's becoming clearer. These traits were the seeds of your destiny, planted early so that they could grow and flourish as you stepped into your purpose. But as we explore these childhood traits, it's important to remember that they are only the beginning. They were the early signs, the first indicators that you were destined for something more. Now, as you stand on the precipice of your full potential, these traits are coming into full bloom. What began as sensitivity has evolved into deep empathy and the ability to heal others. What started as wisdom beyond your years has blossomed into divine insight that guides not only your own path, but the paths of those around you. And that sense of solitude you once felt has transformed into a powerful connection with God, one that grounds you in your purpose and keeps you aligned with His plan for your life. Chosen one, you were never just an ordinary child. From the very beginning, God has been preparing you for something extraordinary. The traits you carried in your youth were the first signs of the greatness you are now stepping into. But the journey is far from over. The lessons you learned in childhood have shaped you, but they are only the foundation for the incredible things that are yet to come. As you continue to grow, these traits will become even more powerful, leading you closer to the destiny God has always intended for you. As you reflect on the childhood traits that marked you as a chosen one, there's a deeper spiritual layer that begins to unfold. It's not just that you were different from those around you, it's that these traits were divinely planted to guide your soul through the early stages of life, preparing you for the greater purpose God had in store. The sensitivity, wisdom, solitude, and courage you displayed as a child were not isolated experiences. They were part of a greater spiritual narrative that has been unfolding since the moment you were born. In those early years, when you felt deeply connected to the emotions and struggles of others, it wasn't simply because you were an empathic child. It was because God had given you the gift of discernment, a spiritual awareness that allowed you to sense the energy around you. While other children may have been concerned with play and exploration, you were often drawn inward, reflecting on the deeper meanings of life, even if you couldn't fully understand them at the time. This gift of discernment is one of the most powerful tools you carry as a chosen one, and it is meant to guide you through both the challenges and the blessings that are part of your divine journey. As you move forward, the sensitivity you once saw as a burden will become one of your greatest assets. It will allow you to connect with others on a profound level, offering comfort and guidance to those who are lost or struggling. But it will also require boundaries. You may have found as a child that you absorbed the emotions of those around you, and without the tools to manage this, it often left you feeling overwhelmed or drained. As you continue on your path, learning to protect your energy while still offering empathy will be a key part of your growth. God gave you the ability to feel deeply, but He also calls you to guard your heart and spirit, ensuring that you have the strength to fulfill your purpose without becoming depleted. The wisdom you displayed as a child was not a fluke or a coincidence. It was a sign of your divine connection, an early indication that God had placed within you knowledge far beyond your years. But with this wisdom came responsibility. As you move forward in your journey, you are being called to use this wisdom not only for your own growth, but to guide others. The insights you've been given are not meant to be kept to yourself. They are meant to be shared. Whether through words, actions, or simply the way you carry yourself, your wisdom is a beacon for others who are searching for their own path. As you continue to grow, this wisdom will only deepen, and you will find that people are naturally drawn to you for guidance and support. The sense of solitude you experienced as a child, while painful at times, was also a gift. In those moments of loneliness, God was drawing you closer to Him, teaching you that your strength comes not from external validation, but from your connection to the divine. This solitude allowed you to cultivate a deep inner life, one that is now the foundation of your spiritual journey. As you move forward, you will find that this ability to be alone with yourself, to seek God in the quiet moments, will be one of your greatest strengths. In a world that is constantly demanding attention and distraction, your ability to retreat into solitude will keep you grounded and connected to your purpose. The courage you displayed in childhood, whether it was standing up for what was right or pushing through difficult circumstances, was also a sign of your destiny. God was shaping you into a leader, someone who could face challenges with grace and resilience. This courage has only grown stronger as you've matured, and it will continue to be a key part of your journey as you step into your full potential. But with this courage comes responsibility. You are being called not only to lead by example, but to inspire others to find their own strength and courage. As you move forward, remember that your bravery is not just for you. It is a gift to be shared with those who are still searching for their own path. As you continue on this journey of spiritual growth, the traits that marked you as a child will only become more pronounced. Your sensitivity will deepen into true empathy, allowing you to connect with others in ways that heal and uplift. Your wisdom will expand, guiding not only your own life, but the lives of those around you. Your ability to embrace solitude will keep you grounded in God's presence, providing a strong foundation for the challenges and blessings to come. And your courage will inspire others, leading them toward their own greatness. But this journey is not without its challenges. As a chosen one, you are being called to walk a path that is different from most. This can be isolating at times, and it may feel as though no one truly understands the depth of your experiences. But know that God is always with you, guiding you and providing the strength you need to fulfill your purpose. As you move forward, continue to nurture these traits, for they are the keys to unlocking the greatness that has been destined for you since childhood. As you reflect on the traits from your childhood that set you apart, there is something undeniable brewing beneath the surface, the recognition that these qualities were not ordinary, but extraordinary. The traits that once seemed to make you feel different, perhaps even isolated, were actually early indicators of the greatness that has always been within you. Yet, as you stand on the edge of this revelation, there is still so much left to uncover. What do these traits truly mean? How do they connect to the path you're walking now? And what is the deeper spiritual message waiting to be revealed? You may still be carrying questions about how these early signs of greatness have played into your life so far. Maybe you wonder why, despite these unique gifts, you've faced hardships or felt as though your potential has been untapped. There may be times when you question if these traits were really indicators of greatness at all, or if they were simply aspects of your personality that made you feel out of place. But here's where the tension rises. Those traits weren't just random quirks. They were intentional markers, placed within you by God to prepare you for something far greater than you could have understood at that young age. Think back to your earliest memories of feeling different. It's likely that those moments are still vivid in your mind, lingering not because they were difficult, but because deep down you knew they meant something significant. Even now you might wonder, why was I given these traits? What is their purpose in the greater scheme of my life? These are the questions that, even as an adult, you may still carry with you. And while they remain unanswered for now, they point to something bigger, something just waiting to be revealed. The spiritual journey is often marked by periods of doubt and uncertainty, where the traits that once seemed so clear become clouded by the noise of the world. In a society that often values conformity, those early signs of greatness may have been buried under the pressure to fit in, to follow the path of least resistance. But now, as you reflect on your childhood, you're beginning to see that these traits were never meant to be suppressed. Instead, they were meant to flourish and grow. guiding you toward your higher purpose. But how? And why did God place these traits within you in the first place? As you stand on the precipice of this understanding, there's a sense of anticipation building. You know there's something more, something you haven't fully grasped yet. And this tension, this sense of waiting for the truth to fully emerge, is part of the journey. There's a revelation coming, a moment of clarity that will tie together the experiences of your past with the path you are on now. But first, you must sit with the uncertainty, the feeling of knowing, but not yet fully understanding. Perhaps you've noticed this pattern in your life. Just when you feel like you're on the verge of something big, there's a pause, a moment where everything seems to stand still. It's in this pause that God is doing the most profound work within you, preparing you for the next step. And that's where you are now, chosen one, on the brink of a breakthrough, standing in the tension between what you've always known and the deeper truth that is about to be revealed. But why the waiting? Why doesn't this clarity come all at once? This, too, is part of the divine process. The traits that made you unique as a child were never meant to give you all the answers right away. Instead, they were clues, signposts along the way, guiding you toward your destiny. And now, as you reflect on those early years, you are being asked to trust in the process, to trust that everything you've experienced, every moment of feeling different or misunderstood, has been leading you to this point. Still, the questions remain. What is the purpose of these traits? Why were you chosen to carry them? And how can you use them to fulfill your divine purpose moving forward? These are the unanswered questions that create a sense of anticipation, a feeling that something greater is about to be revealed. And it is, because the truth is, you've always been destined for greatness, but now is the time to understand why. The journey of a chosen one is not a linear path. It's filled with twists and turns, moments of doubt and moments of clarity. You may feel as though you've been walking this path for a long time, but it's only now that the pieces are truly starting to fall into place. The traits that marked you as a child were just the beginning. Now you are being called to step into the fullness of who you are, to embrace those qualities not as things that set you apart in a negative way, but as gifts that set you on the path to greatness. And as you prepare for the next revelation, there's something important to recognize. The tension you feel, the sense of not yet fully understanding your purpose, is not a sign that you're lost. It's a sign that you're exactly where you need to be. God has been guiding you all along, and the fact that you are reflecting on these traits now is evidence that you are ready to take the next step. The answers are coming, and they will be more powerful and transformative than you can imagine. But for now, the anticipation builds. You know that you've been given these traits for a reason, but what that reason is, how it connects to your future, is the great question still waiting to be answered. And as you stand in this place of curiosity, of waiting for the full truth to emerge, remember this: God's timing is perfect. The revelation will come, and when it does, everything will begin to make sense. As we arrive at this pivotal moment, let's take a brief look back at where we've come from. We've explored the childhood traits that set you apart as a chosen one, traits like sensitivity, wisdom beyond your years, a sense of solitude, and courage in the face of difficulty. These traits weren't just personality quirks or random characteristics, they were divine gifts planted within you by God to prepare you for the greatness you were destined for. But now, the time has come to take those reflections and step into a deeper understanding. What is the purpose of these traits, and how do they connect to the life you are meant to lead now? The answer lies in one profound truth. You have always been destined for greatness because God placed these traits within you as part of His divine plan. You didn't stumble upon these qualities by accident. They were intentional, designed to equip you with the tools you would need to fulfill your unique purpose. But here's the revelation. Those traits were never just about you. They were about the role you are meant to play in the lives of others and in God's greater plan for the world. You see, chosen one, the greatness you are destined for is not just about personal success or achievement. It's about how you can use the gifts God has given you to impact the world around you. This is where the true depth of your calling comes into play. The sensitivity you carried as a child, it was never meant to weigh you down. It was meant to open your heart to the needs of others. God gave you that sensitivity so that you could become a vessel of healing and compassion in a world that so desperately needs it. Likewise, the wisdom you possessed as a child wasn't just about being more knowledgeable than others your age. It was about preparing you to be a guide, a light for those who are struggling to find their way. God gave you that wisdom because He knew that one day others would look to you for guidance, for insight, and for understanding. And now, as you step into your full potential, you are being called to share that wisdom with the world, to be a source of light and truth for those who are still searching. The sense of solitude you felt as a child, while difficult at times, was also part of this divine preparation. In those quiet moments, God was teaching you to rely on Him, to find strength in your relationship with the divine, rather than in the approval or companionship of others. That solitude was a sacred time of growth, a period where your soul was being nurtured and refined for the journey ahead. And now, as you step into your calling, that inner strength you developed in solitude will become one of your greatest assets. You are no longer afraid to walk your path alone, because you know that God is always with you, guiding you every step of the way. And what about the courage you displayed as a child? That courage was no accident either. God was shaping you into a leader, someone who would stand firm in their convictions, even in the face of adversity. That courage was meant to prepare you for the challenges you would face in adulthood, where standing in your truth might not always be easy, but would always be necessary. Now, as you embrace your greatness, that courage will become the foundation upon which you build your legacy. You are being called to lead, not just in the traditional sense, but in a way that inspires others to find their own courage to step into their own greatness. But here's the deeper revelation, the insight that ties it all together. The greatness you are destined for is not something you have to chase. It's not something you need to prove or earn. It's already within you. The traits you displayed as a child, the ones that made you feel different or set apart, were the seeds of that greatness. And now, as you continue to grow and evolve, those seeds are blossoming into something even more beautiful than you could have imagined. God has been guiding you all along, preparing you for this moment where you would step fully into your destiny. But the key is this: greatness doesn't come from striving or achieving. It comes from aligning with the person God has called you to be. It comes from recognizing that everything you need to fulfill your purpose has already been placed within you. The sensitivity, wisdom, solitude, and courage you carried as a child were just the beginning. Now, it's time to use those gifts to step into the full expression of who you are. So, what does this mean for your journey moving forward? It means that you are being called to live with intentionality. No longer will you look at those childhood traits as burdens or quirks. You will see them for what they truly are, divine gifts. And with those gifts comes responsibility. You are being asked to use them in service to others, to lift up those who are struggling, to guide those who are lost, and to bring light to the darkness around you. This is what it means to be a chosen one. But here's the beautiful part. You don't have to do it alone. God is with you every step of the way, providing you with the strength, the guidance, and the support you need to fulfill your purpose. And as you walk this path, you will begin to attract others who are on similar journeys, people who see the greatness within you and are inspired to find their own. This is the moment of breakthrough, the moment where everything begins to make sense. The traits that set you apart as a child were never a mistake. They were never a burden. They were the first signs of the greatness you are now stepping into. And as you move forward, you will begin to see how those traits, when fully embraced, will lead you to the life God has always intended for you. Chosen one, you are not just destined for greatness. You've always been destined for it. And now it's time to step fully into that truth. The world is waiting for the gifts you have to offer. Trust in God's plan. Trust in the traits He has given you. And know that your greatness is already within you. ready to be fully realized. Now that you've begun to see the deeper purpose behind the traits you carried from childhood, the path forward becomes clear. This is not a moment to simply reflect on the past, or even to bask in the realization of your unique gifts. This is a call to action. As a chosen one, you've always been destined for greatness, but that greatness requires intentionality, purpose, and most importantly, faith in God's plan for your life. It's important to understand that these childhood traits were not just indicators of what you could become, they were the foundation for what you are meant to build now. Every sensitivity, every moment of solitude, every ounce of wisdom and courage you demonstrated in those early years were setting the stage for the journey you're walking today. But greatness doesn't come without responsibility. The traits you carry, now fully realized, are tools you must use to fulfill your divine purpose. The question now is, how do you apply these gifts as you move forward? First, understand that the path forward requires a deeper alignment with God. The gifts you carry, whether it's sensitivity, wisdom, or courage, are not yours to use for personal gain alone. They are meant to be used in service to others and in alignment with God's greater plan. This means that your sensitivity to the emotions and needs of others is not just a trait that makes you compassionate, it's a tool for healing. As you move forward, you are called to use this sensitivity to bring comfort and understanding to those who are struggling. God has placed this gift within you so that you can be a source of light for others, a reflection of His love and grace. But with this gift comes the need for boundaries. Sensitivity, without proper protection, can lead to emotional exhaustion or even burnout. As you step further into your purpose, it's crucial to learn how to guard your heart while still remaining open to others. This doesn't mean closing yourself off or becoming detached, but rather it means relying on God to help you discern when and how to offer your empathy. Trust that God will guide you in knowing when to step in and when to protect your own energy. The path forward involves learning how to balance the gift of sensitivity with the strength to protect your spirit. Similarly, the wisdom you've carried since childhood is now being called into action in new and profound ways. This wisdom isn't just about knowing what's right or wrong, it's about understanding the deeper truths of life and using that understanding to guide not only yourself, but others. As you move forward, you are being called to step into a role of leadership, not through authority or power, but through quiet influence and guidance. People will naturally turn to you for advice, for insight, and for direction. And as you guide them, you must do so with humility, always remembering that your wisdom is a gift from God, not something you've earned or accumulated through your own efforts. Leadership, in this context, is not about being in front of others. It's about walking beside them, helping them find their own path while staying grounded in your own truth. The path forward involves embracing this role with grace and humility, always pointing others back to God as the source of wisdom and guidance. In doing so, you fulfill your divine purpose, becoming a vessel through which God's wisdom can flow to others. And then there's the solitude. As you continue on your journey, the ability to find peace in solitude will become even more important. The world is noisy, filled with distractions that can pull you away from your purpose. But as a chosen one, you have always been able to find comfort in moments of quiet. This gift of solitude is not just about being alone, it's about finding God in the stillness. It's in these moments of quiet that you will hear His voice most clearly, guiding you toward the next steps on your path. As you move forward, make time for solitude. Make time to disconnect from the world and reconnect with God. This will be your anchor, the place where you recharge and find the strength to continue walking the path He has laid out for you. Solitude, for you, is not isolation, it's communion with the divine. As you embrace this practice, you will find that your purpose becomes clearer and your path more certain. But what about courage? The courage you displayed as a child was no accident. It was a training ground for the challenges you will face on this journey. As you move forward, you will undoubtedly encounter moments where you are called to stand up for what you believe in, to speak truth in the face of adversity, and to hold fast to your convictions even when it's difficult. This is where your courage will shine. But remember, this courage isn't just about boldness, it's about trusting that God is with you even in the moments of uncertainty. As you walk this path, you will need to rely on this courage to face the unknown. The road ahead may not always be clear, and there will be times when doubt creeps in. But in those moments, your courage will remind you that you are not walking this path alone. God has been with you since childhood, shaping and preparing you for this journey, and He will continue to guide you every step of the way. The path forward involves leaning into this courage, trusting that God's plan for you is far greater than anything you could imagine. As you reflect on these traits and how they've shaped your journey, it's important to recognize that this path is ongoing. There is no final destination where you arrive and all the work is done. Being a chosen one means that your journey is one of continuous growth, continuous learning, and continuous alignment with God's will. Every step you take, every decision you make, is an opportunity to move closer to the greatness God has destined for you. The path forward is about fully embracing the gifts you've carried since childhood, not as burdens, but as blessings. It's about understanding that these traits are the keys to unlocking your divine purpose, and that they are meant to be used in service to others and to the greater good. As you continue to walk this path, trust that God is guiding you, that His plan for your life is unfolding perfectly, and that the greatness you've always been destined for is already within you, waiting to be fully realized. So, step forward with faith, with courage, and with a heart open to God's guidance. The path may not always be easy, but it is divinely orchestrated, and it is leading you exactly where you need to be. Trust in the gifts you've been given, trust in the journey, and know that your greatness is not something you need to chase. It's something you are becoming every day with every step you take. As you reflect on these traits that have shaped your journey from childhood to now, remember that they were never just characteristics. They were divine gifts, preparing you for the greatness God has always planned for you. This is your time to step fully into that purpose, to embrace the qualities that make you a chosen one, and to trust that God's plan for your life is unfolding in ways more beautiful than you can imagine. Now is the time to take action. If this message resonated with you, make sure to subscribe and become a part of the Chosen Ones community. By joining the Kingdom Calls family, you'll never miss the divine wisdom and guidance that can help you stay aligned with your purpose. Share this message with others who need to hear it, because there are many out there, just like you, who are ready to step into their greatness, but need that reminder of their true calling. Chosen One, you are not walking this path alone. Together, we are building a community of faith, trust, and spiritual growth. Subscribe, engage, and share as we continue to walk this sacred journey, uplifted by the divine gifts that God has placed within each of us. If this message touched your heart and you'd like to support the Chosen Ones community, consider donating to our Patreon. Your contribution helps us continue to create spiritually enriching content for you and others on the sacred path. Every donation, no matter the amount, strengthens our ability to share messages of faith, hope, and divine purpose with those who need it most. Your support allows us to grow this community, bringing more light and guidance to chosen ones all over the world. Thank you for walking this journey with us, and thank you for your generosity.